Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please sit. Thank you. This is without question the latest news conference I've ever had. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it very much. And I want to thank the American people for their tremendous support. Millions and millions of people voted for us tonight. And a very sad group of people is trying to disenfranchise that group of people. And we won't stand for it. We will not stand for it. I want to thank the First Lady, my entire family, and Vice President Pence, Mrs. Pence, for being with us all through this. And we were getting ready for a big celebration. We were winning everything, and all of a sudden it was just called off. The results tonight have been phenomenal, and we are getting ready. I mean, literally, we were just all set to get outside and just celebrate something that was so beautiful, so good, such a vote, such a success. The citizens of this country have come out in record numbers. This is a record. There's never been anything like it. To support our incredible movement, we won states that we weren't expected to win. Florida, we didn't win it. We won it by a lot. And we won the great state of Ohio. We won Texas. We won Texas. We won Texas by 700,000 votes, and they don't even include it in the tabulations. It's also clear that we have won Georgia. We're up by 2.5% or 117,000 votes with only 7% left. They're never going to catch us. They can't catch us. Likewise, we've clearly won North Carolina, where we're up 1.4% or 77,000 votes with only approximately 5% left. They can't catch us. We also, if you look and you see, Arizona, we have a lot of life in that. And somebody declared that it was a victory for, and maybe it will be. I mean, that's possible. But certainly there were a lot of votes out there that we could get, because we're now just coming into what they call Trump territory. I don't know what you call it, but these were friendly Trump voters, and that could be overturned. The gentleman that called it, I watched tonight, he said, well, we think it's fairly unlikely that he could catch. Well, fairly unlikely. And we don't even need it. We don't need that. That was just a state that if we would have gotten it, it would have been nice, Arizona. But there's a possibility, maybe even a good possibility. In fact, since I saw that originally, it's been changed and the numbers have substantially come down just in a small amount of votes. So we want that obviously to stay in play. But most importantly, we're winning Pennsylvania by a tremendous amount of votes. We're up 600. Think of this. Think of this. Think of this. We're up 690,000 votes in Pennsylvania. 690,000. These aren't even close. It's not like, oh, it's close. With 64% of the vote in, it's going to be almost impossible to catch. And we're coming into good Pennsylvania areas where they happen to like your president. I mean, it's like very good. So we'll probably expand that. We're winning Michigan, but I'll tell you, I looked at the numbers. I said, whoa. I said, wow, that's a lot. By almost 300,000 votes, and 65% of the vote is in. and we're winning Wisconsin. So we're winning. We don't need all of them. We need, because when you add Texas in, which wasn't added, I spoke with the really wonderful governor of Texas just a little while ago, and Greg Abbott, he said, congratulations. He called me to congratulate me on winning Texas. I mean, we won Texas. I don't think they finished quite the tabulation, but there's no way. And it was almost complete, but he congratulated me. Then he said, by the way, what's going on? I've never seen anything like this. Can I tell you what? Nobody has. So we won by 107,000 votes with 81% of the vote. That's Michigan. So when you take those three states in particular, and you take all of the others, I mean, we have so many, we had such a big night. You just take a look at all of these states that we've won tonight, and then you take a look at the kind of margins that we've won them by. And all of a sudden, it's not like we're up 12 votes and we have 60% left. We won states, and all of a sudden, I said, what happened to the election? It's off. And we have all these announcers saying, what happened? And then they said, oh, because you know what happened? They knew they couldn't win. So they said, let's go to court. And did I predict this, Newt? Did I say this? I've been saying this from the day I heard they were going to send out tens of millions of ballots.
We're listening to the president speaking at the White House, but we got to dip in here because there have been several statements that are just frankly not true. The president going through some of the states, stating that he has prevailed in those states, naming Georgia, saying they're winning Georgia, or that they won Georgia, there's no way they'll catch us, that they're winning Pennsylvania, won Michigan. The fact of the matter is those states have not come close to counting all of their vote. There's still outstanding vote. Do we have a moment to go to Chuck? We'll keep our ears on this and promise to go back as news events warrant. But just can you explain why it is that it's not possible for anyone to say they've won in this particular state?
Right. So what we have here, first of all, 1.9 million votes have not been counted. Can I repeat? 1.9. That is 3 times the lead that Trump has. Okay, so that is way too many votes, number one. And as you can see, most of this is Election Day vote. We know the president had an advantage on Election Day vote, so we have gotten very little of the early and absentee vote. And then you want to throw in one more way of just seeing, let me just remind you of where we are with Philly. Half of Philly has not come in.
Let's go to Michigan. He said Michigan, that he's running up margins in Michigan, and we've won Michigan. So can you show us how much vote is left over in Michigan that hasn't been counted
As you can see, we've only gotten 2/3 of the vote in. This is actually, so there's just 303,000 difference here. Again, 1.8 million votes are left to be counted. Let me repeat, 1.8. Do the math. It's 6 times, okay?
What about Wisconsin?
All right, so that, and as you can see, most of this is still same-day vote. So this is why Michigan, a lot of people are so bullish for the Democrats on Michigan the minute that vote comes. And then Wisconsin, this is where, but it's tight, and it's 116, 81% is in. We're waiting for 700,000 votes. And trust me, with Milwaukee being one of the places, 116 is not enough there. And I'll just go you real quick here. Milwaukee, we still have less than half.
And notably, the president also talked about a group of people trying to disenfranchise the vote, winning everything. Let's listen in.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to join you in thanking more than 60 million Americans who have already cast their vote for 4 more years for President Donald Trump in the White House. And while the votes continue to be counted, we're going to remain vigilant, as the president said. The right to vote has been at the center of our democracy since the founding of this nation, and we're going to protect the integrity of the vote. But I really believe with all of my heart, with the extraordinary margins, Mr. President, that you've inspired in the states that you just described, and the way that you launched this movement across the country to make America great again, I truly do believe, as you do, that we are on the road to victory, and we will make America great again. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.